Welcome back to Fair's Fair! Today we'll be talking about, or more ranting about, what Just Some Guy said in a video. That's his name. Just Some Guy. I'm not being dismissive. In his video, he says that Jordan Peterson doesn't understand Tolkien, yet his implications seem to miss Tolkien's intent as well. Now, he and Jordy Boy are talking about politics, but I'm focusing on the media, so we'll just take this and stuff it right down in there. There we go. Now, first I'll get ahead of a counterpoint. This'll make sense later, I promise. Before someone argues that juggling sex gel is using Boromir in a vacuum to make a point, I'll point out that he references expanded lore and the author's intent, as well as criticizing Jordan's point for doing exactly that. So if Judge Supergawk is doing that, then he'd be a hypocrite and brought this on himself. Lastly, before I begin in proper, I'm not here to start drama. I'll joke around, but I'm not taking a political side on the topic that Jordan Peterson is talking about. I'm here to defend Boromir from those on the internet that seek to disparage his honor, which may or may not include Just Some Guy. With that stated, let's begin. Ironically enough, beginning partway through the video.
But Ruben's statement is what leads Peterson to mention the hobbits, which makes this triply telling because Peterson doesn't realize, or probably doesn't know, that it's not men who defeat the great evil. It's hobbits.
Well, right off the bat, the ring leads to its own destruction. As Tolkien said himself, it would be impossible for anyone to drop the ring at the edge of that volcano. It was the corrupting power of the ring that compelled Gollum to leap at Frodo. That's what got the ring destroyed. It's a big thing Tolkien put into his work that evil is often the cause of its own destruction, as opposed to real life where evil votes to give itself a raise despite a 3% approval rating. Whoops, let's just push that down in a bit more. Back to the video.
Take someone like Boromir. Peterson would view him as a classic hero, the warrior, the leader of men, the quintessential noble, virtuous, conservative man who gets turned out by the One Ring faster than a teenager at a Matt Gaetz party. The ring turned Boromir out the moment he saw it. Meanwhile, it took a year, a whole calendar year, for the ring to break Frodo. 18 years if you count the time he had it but didn't use it. Bilbo had the ring for half a century and it barely affected him. Think about that. A mere hobbit managed the ring for 50 years, while noble Boromir couldn't even last 50 seconds. It wasn't Boromir of Gondor who took the ring to Mordor. It was Frodo Baggins. It wasn't Boromir who stayed by his side. It was Samwise Gamgee. The hobbits did what no man could do. Boromir, on the other hand, tried to take the ring because he thought Frodo was small and weak and couldn't handle it.
No! Stop! How fucking dare you? He didn't try to take the ring because he was weak or truly thought Frodo was. That's not how the ring works. It's about desires and drives. The ring calls to the desires and drives within you. Hobbits were uniquely resistant to it as they were simple folk. To most. They have little wide-sweeping desires. It was the burden put on Boromir that drove him. A desire to save his people that the ring played with. Your own willpower or how good a person you are has nothing to do with it. Gandalf had a strong will and immense power, yet he refused to even touch the ring, almost pleading that he not be asked to take it.
Take it, Gandalf. Take it!
No, Frodo.
You must take it!
You cannot offer me this ring.
I'm giving it to you!
Don't tempt me, Frodo. I dare not take it. Not even to keep it safe.
Ian McKellen played the part beautifully, by the way. He didn't say that because it was Frodo's burden to bear. He said it because he wanted to take it. He could feel that he did, and he knew why he felt that way. If he had taken the ring, Sauron would have been reduced to almost nothing. Everything he knew would go to Gandalf, and he would be the most powerful Maiar in all of Middle-earth. As he said, he would at first try to use the ring for good, but that's not how it would end, and he'd never give it up. And he knew that. A lot of people, not necessarily just JSG here, but others seem to think that the ring just calls out to you, hey, come here, wanna do some evil? It's more internal than that. It twists your own desire towards it. It whispers to your concerns and your love and your desire to do good, and it will convince you that it can help you, or that these things are in danger without it. The solution to every great problem you think you have will seem to almost naturally be that ring. And at the precipice of the volcano, Tolkien himself has said that it would be impossible for someone to drop it in. The idea of destroying something that powerful that you are convinced could help you in so many ways would make you unable to drop it. Not via mind control, but by twisting your own desires and love and wants. But let's move into our final bit.
Neither elves, dwarves, men, or hobbits are inherently good. They're all flawed, all capable of being corrupted, but the race of men is more flawed and more easily corrupted than all the others. Their desire for power makes them more susceptible to the ring. Meanwhile, the hobbits, who Peterson claims represents the left, are harder to corrupt, less tempted by greed and power, more resilient to the trials and tribulations of the world, and prove to be braver and more courageous than anyone ever expects.
I think men wearing the rings while Sauron had his on helped that along a little bit. A friendly reminder that all of the rings were intended for the elves. And the only reason the elves were not corrupted by the rings that they did have was because they heard Sauron speaking his spell when he was forging the One Ring and took theirs off. The dwarves were also corrupted, just not really controllably so. Some of these things seem more culture and circumstance-based, though. Sméagol killed a man pretty quickly after the ring came to him, and his people were related to the hobbits. The races were also not inherently good only because of the corruption first sown in the world by Morgoth, so that's not really their fault, which might also mean that the orcs aren't at fault for being evil. Not wife-loving family men, rings of power. But my respect for Tolkien showing humility before his own fictional god's potential forgiveness in the afterlife for them could be its own video. As could my intense disagreement with people who think Tom Bombadil is a Tolkien self-insert, but those topics are for another time. For this video, Boromir had great responsibilities to keep safe a great many lives. No one in his position could have avoided falling under the allure of the ring. Galadriel was tempted. Gandalf was tempted. Anyone with great desire for good, or otherwise, would be twisted by its power. It doesn't matter what your desire is, it would be warped to make you see the ring as a solution. Boromir wanted to save everyone, and Sauron didn't need the ring to take over. His armies were already doing it. While his homeland and people were slaughtered, they were taking their enemy's greatest weapon into the enemy's territory. It's understandable how this would apply great pressure to his psyche and make him easier to twist to the ring's will. What happened to Boromir was a tragedy that deserves respect, and anyone who says otherwise should keep Boromir's name out your fucking mouth. I've always loved the depth and detail of Lord of the Rings. You could talk about obscure lore for days. It's actually the full-time job of some people. So let me know, are all of you just as sick of the general slander of Boromir? Is this ranty video fun? Reply in the comments as you like, follow, comment, subscribe, feed the algorithm. Oh, and if you're mad I've springboarded off of JSG's video and want to try and fuel a war, accuse me of a political stance, or even worse, we're glad that Boromir died, then you too can go down to the comments so long as you're entertainingly angry.